Hello and welcome to Sunny Side Up. I'm your host, Sonny Chatrath, and today we have with us the talented actor and director Himanshu Malik, all the way from Mumbai. Welcome to the show, Himanshu.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you so much.
Himanshu is no newcomer to the industry. He's appeared in notable films like Tumbin, LOC, Kargil, among others. He turned director with his upcoming film Chitrakut, which is in post production right now. Welcome again, Himanshu, and I want to hand it over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about Chitrakut.
Um, I essentially floated through a few careers before I came to the film industry. Uh, I by education I'm an engineer. I finished my engineering and I worked for a few months, and uh, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was not. Uh, I was never driven to be in the film industry. I was never driven to be an actor. I was floating about in life, drifting about, trying to figure out what I want to do. And things just kept happening by themselves, and I kept, enjoying the process of being in films, enjoying the process of being a part of storytelling. I started essentially as a model because that was a good way to pay your rent. And moving on from that, I started to get, acting big offers, and I was doing a lot of theater at that point, and that was quite fantastic. And before I knew, I had a active film career, and we all know it's a very sought for space, be in the films as an actor. And suddenly by my without much much analysis or much there was a lot of effort. I worked hard. I'm generally hard working guy, but things happened. I was very lucky to get cast in some really good films that did well. And once that happened, then I became an active. I became a working actor. That's when I started really discovering screenwriting, films, and luckily because I'd been in the film industry already by that time, I knew a lot. You assimilate a lot of knowledge from your experience on the shoots while meeting people, and before I knew it, it occurred to me maybe I should make a film. It's been almost. We just finished making the film, as in the post production is almost done now, and it's been a tough ride to make a film, but a fun ride. No complaints.
I do remember meeting you last year in October when I was in Mumbai, and you are one of the most humble people and one of the most genuine people that I have actually met. You welcomed me into your home, and just like a brother would, and I was really touched. That was a very touching thing. Most people in Mumbai, just like, oh yeah, I'm busy, I can't see you, I have no time. I tried to make appointments with several people, and I'm not going to lie, and I just spoke with you, and you said, you know what, just come down and we'll sit down and we'll chat about it. And that to me was, that this guy is a genuine guy, and I
Yes.
I was very touched.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a I just I think with time I realized that the human connection is all that we really have. Essentially, we are artists, right? That's why we are in the realm of art, and
Yeah.
it's a human art, and if you can't touch people in real life, how will you touch them through your work?
Yeah.
As simple as that. So and I remember meeting you, and it was quite, you yourself have a very you have a very warm vibe.
Thank
You
you.
have a wonderful persona. So it was just fantastic meeting you, and I try and meet people as much as I can, and it's quite lovely.
And it shows. I mean, it shows in your demeanor that you're a warm person yourself. So I heard that you are also an Air Force brat like myself. So your dad was also in the Air Force, or is in the Air Force?
Yes, he was in the Air Force. He was a pilot in the Air Force, and I had the great opportunity to grow up all over India. So we were in Assam, in Jorhat, we were in Jodhpur, we were in Allahabad in UP. We were in Kunur, Uti. So I mean, I think to be a defense services brat is quite a gift. It's quite a joy because you live in these amazing cultures, these amazing
Places.
different landscapes, different languages, different food, different weather. Every 3-4 years, you're in a new world, and you discover new people and you make new friends.
No, I agree. I mean, it's so interesting that you grew up in Jorhat and
Jodhpur.
Jodhpur. So I was in Jodhpur, like my parents were in Jodhpur when I was 2 years old. And
Okay.
my dad was posted in Jorhat, and we couldn't live there because it was like really raining all the time. So we were
Yes.
living in Kathmandu, and my dad was posted in Jorhat by himself.
Oh, we should talk about this more. I mean, it's
We
possible
should.
we. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So it's really interesting. I went to Air Force School in Agra for the longest time, and then from there we went to Kathmandu. But anyways, this is not about me. This is about you. So let me ask you this: as an independent filmmaker, what do you feel about the issue of nepotism, and how deep is this issue? And do you see any changes after the passing of Sushant Singh Rajput?
Well, the thing about this whole, I think it's just it's been raked up. Considering, see, I mean, all of us, all actors, I think individuals who are not even in the industry, people who all over the world have been extremely hurt by what happened. I have had, for a whole week, I've had calls from a lot of people, a lot of my actors, people in industry, just talking about what happened. How it's just so sad. It's just so incredibly sad, and we'll never know what really happened. But to rake up nepotism and pin it on that, the thing for me is that nepotism exists as a human condition. It's all over. You tell me one business that does not have favoritism. So it is a part of every business. Now the question is, how do people handle it? How do you process it? In this business, because your failures are public, your success is public. You're successful because if you're a star, and you're a failure if you're not a star. There is a lot of public scrutiny of the whole business. Therefore, it is suddenly something to hurt the eye, to say, oh, there's nepotism in the business. The truth is that it's like every business; it has its dynamics. Um, there is a pathology to the problem. There is a problem, and which essentially is that uh, a very few people hold too much power. It's not their fault. They got the power. They'll hold on to it. They've been offered it. And why do they have the power? They have the power because there is, in my opinion, it's a huge problem with how the industry is viewed by the governments, how the public treats the industry. So these things come together and add a very toxic environment. So I think it's one of the key problems here, where we don't get support in any way. And it's as simple as, let me give you a very small example. When all the cinemas turned from single screens to multiplexes, they didn't want to pay for the projectors. Okay, projectors were being digitized. Instead of becoming film projectors, they were becoming digital projectors, which are very expensive. You're talking $500,000 or whatever. So they said, we are not going to do this. It's too expensive. So they got another third company to come and put the projectors. Third company said, how do we make money out of it? They said, fine, you put the projector and you pick a rental fee from the filmmaker, the producer, to use your projector. So now I have to convince the theater owner to take my film, and I have to pay the projector, a fee to pay my film for a week, which is not less, just 25,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees for 1 week. So if you're releasing a film in 100 theaters, you're talking 25 lakh rupees as a fee. So I'm saying now, when the government should have stepped in and said, let's not have such draconian, methods. It's a free for all basically, and this method suited the big stars because they don't care about $25,000, but a small film it does. So all these things create a very toxic environment where the ones in power, there are power is always in a very few hands. And today, if it's people, I mean, all due respect, I've read a lot of negative stuff against Karan Johar and so on and so. Well, it could have been somebody else. It could have been somebody else, but the power stays in those few people because of the toxic business environment.
You don't see any end to it, so there's no no way to break this toxic cycle, and people can expect more, because I personally feel that there is no end to it. It's probably going to be another 5 or 6 months before things start getting normal again, and people will forget about Sushant Singh Rajput and other actors who have actually lost their livelihood, and it's going to be back to square one. I mean, it's business as usual.
I think what's going to happen is that there is going to be an end to the power that these people hold, because more and more big films are flopping. But I think Indian cinema has got something very something really worrisome, which is that Hollywood is just coming in with all guns blazing. I think 2019, second year in a row, Hollywood films crossed more than Bollywood films. Hollywood has steamrolled many regional cinemas all over the world. Italian cinema, Japanese cinema. They have shut those industries down because people don't see those films anymore, the local films. Because Hollywood has great production values, they have a great machinery, they're putting millions of dollars in every sphere.
That is a good response. Now I'm going to hand it over to Kirk. He has a question that he posted. Kirk, would you like to unmute yourself and ask him the question directly?
Sure, absolutely. So I was just saying that being an actor starting out, what was it like transitioning from taking direction to giving direction as a filmmaker?
So I think one of my strong points and one of my is that I've been an actor myself. I've been on a set, and I think actor handling is one of the biggest keys of filmmaking, of doing a narrative. How do you, because they are your biggest tool on screen. There's always the camera and there's everything else, but they are your biggest tools. So I think it's been quite exciting for me to have been an actor, have been there, have known the moments, have known what I was not told or what I was told. And then when I started directing, and I've never been to film school. I have not been to any workshop. I just one day got some money together and got a producer and something, and I said, let's do a film. And I thought initially this is the short film I did before my feature, and I think my producer was like, well, I'm gonna fold on set. He's a dear friend, and I owe my career to him a lot. And he kind of said, are you sure you know how you want to pull it off? And I was like, yeah, let's see. I don't know. I'm just going to go there and set the shot and say roll and see. And, and like I said, my whole, and having spent time with actors, having known actors, and I love actors. And, I've spent so much time, and being an actor is a very different world, which if you know that world, then you're blessed. So I think that has been a great joy for me to be able to direct people, and it's been a great learning for me to having been an actor.
Excellent, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kurt, for that question. And now we have a question from Divya Gupta on Facebook, our dear friend Divya. And she's asking, how has living and growing up in different parts of India influenced your writing / acting / directing?
I think so. a lot of filmmakers are rooted in a particular milieu, okay, because they grow up in a certain world, you know, uh, and in a certain city. So you kind of, that city seeps into your, deep into your, consciousness, and you kind of become a very, it's like Anurag Kashyap is from Banaras. So his natural tendency is to have that earthiness that he's grown up with, or for that matter, Zoya Akhtar is from Bombay. So her natural tendency is to have a great texture of the city. You know it; it's in your bones. So because I've been in cities, I've been in small rural areas, I've been in small townships. I've had friends who are villagers. I've had friends who are, who are very wealthy. It's given me a fantastic worldview, I think.
Next up, I'm going to ask you about Chitrakut. So tell me, what inspired you to write and, direct Chitrakut? What was the inspiration behind Chitrakut? And I'm going to ask you another follow-up question right now. I've heard Majid Majidi loved the film, and the film has his blessings. How did that happen?
So, I think once I started screen, initially 2000, I think 2009, I started writing more actively. So writing 3 hours every day, and So I kept developing stuff, and I made a short film in 2012, and I kept writing a lot of material. But I always wanted to write a quintessential relationship film. I think it's a very key factor in everybody's life. Relationships are always, for some reason, I've always sensed that they have immense power over us. The idea of what a relationship should be, and what we how we want to do, and all those things. So I wanted to write a quintessential relationship film, and I couldn't for many years. And I wrote I wrote stuff which was dark, which was had its own challenges as a producer. I think I had an epiphany at a particular point, and it was actually the first week of 2017, and that was the last year I was giving myself that if I don't make a film this year, I'm going to fold up. And I said, okay, I'm going to give 2017 to just do this, just give it one big run. And I had an epiphany, and really, it was, sounds a bit dramatic, but I had an epiphany, and I wrote the film in 10 weeks clean. And the moment I finished it, I knew that it's, the film had some strength. Once that happened, then there was no stopping. And obviously there were a lot of other, incredible things that happened in 2017 regarding my career as a filmmaker, which is also another story in itself. And boom, we could shoot the film by 2018.
Excellent. And do tell us about Majid Majidi. I mean, how did you get his blessings?
One of Majidi's associates came by the edit, dropped something on the studio. And my producer told me that he's Majidi's associate. Try, if you can convince him to show him something, it'd be nice. So I said, I kind of, hey, come have a cup of tea, see what I'm doing. And it was a very rough edit. It was just something. And somehow I think he kind of, and he's an elderly gentleman, he's quite reticent. He kind of, sat and he said, oh, this is interesting, I like it. He didn't say much to me, but I think he saw something very interesting in the film. And then he went back into my producing partner that, I think this film has got a lot of strength. If you ever want to, meet Majidi with it, I can at least make an introduction. Rest is up to you. More than happy to, show it to Majidi. And then at one point he was in India, and he kind of said, fine, if I would have coffee with Himanshu and let him talk about the film, and then we can take it on. He was just fantastic. And, he saw the film, he kind of just spoke about how he, and I remember very clearly when he finished the film, he told me, so midway through the film, he had a translator with him. He told the translator, you have to translate everything. And And about 30 minutes into the film, he said, just pause the film. And they had their own personal theater over there. And he said, I just need to, I want to go to the washroom. And the translator told me that, he told me at this point of the film that it's a really good film. I want to see it properly. And at that point, I knew that, okay, the film is working fine, because that's actually the point where the first conflict comes in. And then I spent the whole evening with him, and it was just fantastic, because when you spend time with an auteur like him and you see what they can do, see how they see things, and you realize why they are what they are, because there's just something special that they gain by that point. It was quite an exciting experience.
So any opportunities working together with Mr. Majidi?
Well, I hope I can someday write with him, because I think he's a tremendous writer, and he's kind of he's particularly. He asked me, who wrote the film? I want to work with this writer. I said, I wrote the film. You wrote the film? I said, yeah. And he said, how long you took to write it? I said, about a couple of years. He said, well, we should work together. I hope something happens, but it takes.
Now, Varun has a question. Varun, would you like to go off mute and ask him yourself?
Absolutely. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hey, Himanshu. Very, very good to be on this call with you. So my question is, as an actor, have you ever felt that, right now, I don't know where the things are going, or what I should do next? Let's say I've done a comedy or a drama, and now I should do let's say an action movie. And what kept you floating in those times? Because I feel as an actor, you get through those times. You go through times when you've hit a plateau and you're not sure what you want to do next.
Yes, absolutely. I think as an actor, the problem with being an actor is that you're limited by the choices you have, and you are at the same time you want to pick content that you really like to do. You want to pick your strengths to, but it's not so much in your control. So I think as an actor, how do you keep yourself afloat? Is to just pursue good art. To listen to good music, to see good films. Is to find your voice as an artist, which you can lend to the kind of choices you make as the films you pick, the roles you play, and how you play them. So I think that is a huge key over here to be an actor and to stay active as an actor is to find your own artistic voice, because the industry can very easily just typecast you as comedy or this, and if you just put you in a box and leave you there, put in the shelf and just buy you at a per day rate, they like it. Unless you have your own artistic creative voice, I don't see it becomes very difficult to have your own world.
Do you ever see yourself going back to being an actor after you directed
I would love it. Bring it on.
You're just like me. No, that again, seeing your energy, I guess, you really haven't actually given up. जैसे वो कहते हैं ना कि किस शराबी ने छोड़े जाम. So from the same token, I don't think you will ever, once you are an actor.
Once an actor, always an actor. Yeah,
Once an actor, always an actor.